Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson, and you are watching my walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild for Nintendo Wii U and Switch. So in the last video, I went to Kakariko and met up with Impa for the first time for the main storyline objectives, and she now redirects us to go to Hateno to meet up with her friend Pura there, which is to the far east, and that is that blinking yellow pin that is on my map. So I'm working my way over there, and I do highly recommend you do this because it will unlock several things that are very useful, including upgrading our runes to make them more powerful, as well as unlocking memories, which is kind of an optional like lore side quest, as well as the ability to censor for things other than shrines, so you can censor for objects and materials and as well as weapons and stuff. So there's a bunch of different things you can censor for. Very useful, so I highly recommend you unlock these things as soon as possible. This game is kind of flexible, you can go wherever you want, but I do highly recommend you do the main storyline objectives for now. So I recommend you warp to the Ha Dahamar Shrine right next to Dueling Peak Stable, speak with the stable master to take out your horse, and start working your way towards Hateno. A horse is not mandatory, it just makes this a lot faster. If you do not currently have a horse and you would like one, then there are some low-quality horses that are right next to Dueling Peak Stable. These are kind of the lowest quality ones in the game. They have very low stats, and so they're not very fast, and they don't have a lot of health. However, any horse is better than none as far as just sheer speed. Horses are totally optional, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. The horse I'm currently using is the White Royal Stallion, which is part of a side quest, actually, that I completed several videos ago. That particular video is labeled very clearly, so if you look back in the playlist, you can find it right away, so you can see exactly when and how I got that. As a side comment, though, if you would like to get that, another way to do that is in the description of this video, there is links to several different guides. One of them is a side quest guide. So if you go to the side quest guide that lists all the side quests in Breath of the Wild, that particular side quest is called the Royal White Stallion. So if you go to that guide, it will show you maps and screenshots and stuff like that, so that you know exactly where to find that particular horse. So one of the things we're going to be doing from this video forward, basically, we're going to be riding our horse a lot. We're going to get to Hateno, but then after that, I'm going to be riding all around Hyrule. I'm going to go directly to the towers and get some highlights along the way, like unlock some shrines just for teleport points, but I'm basically just going to be riding my horse a lot for many, many videos. Buckle up and get ready to ride your horse a lot, I guess. I decided to just try it for this walkthrough to see. I thought it might be kind of a cool idea. It ended up being awesome. I'm actually really surprised with how sweet it was. It was great. So I do highly recommend it, unless you specifically want to run around on foot and collect all the Koroks and stuff along the way. More power to you if you decide to do that. I thought that unlocking the towers ASAP was more of a priority. But anyways, I got the Royal White Stallion, which is kind of a mid-tier horse. It's not amazing, it's not terrible either, it's just middle of the road. The reason I did it is because it's so easy to get, is why. And it's also part of a side quest and stuff, so it's pretty obvious and it's easy to do. You can get it right next to the Great Plateau. It's just really smart. However, if you want the best horses in the game, you can totally do that now. Now, I don't really want to talk about it in this video. I want to just kind of keep going with the main quest. What I will provide for you is in the description, I will have links to the videos later on in this walkthrough once they release, where I am getting the best horses in the game. So you can do that real quick and then refer back to this video to continue following along with me. So if you wanted to do a major out-of-the-way thing, you could get the best horses in the game right now before we start this massive horse riding process. Alright, so with all those equestrian disclaimers out of the way, I'm not going to be talking about horses moving forward. Instead, I'm just going to be staying true to my Royal White Stallion. For now, anyways, until I ditch him for something better. So awful. Anyways, continuing on to the east, you're going to go past the Fort Hateno, where there's a dude at the gate, which you can speak with if you like. And then there's a house here. During the day, you can find Calip here, and otherwise he is further to the north at night. Now, this is a totally optional shrine quest. He gives you clues about what to do in order to unlock a nearby shrine. How this quest works is you just need to acknowledge him as a doctor, and then he will give you some clues on how to proceed. A lot of quests in Breath of the Wild have like a start, middle, and end point, or like they have optional parts of that where you can kind of just skip over it if you know the solution. In this example, if you just go to the shrine and you do the thing you're supposed to do, you don't even have to talk to Calip at all. And I think you can even talk with him after the shrine too, and he has some optional dialogue there too. I tried to include as many like dialogue-y things as I could, but I did accidentally miss over some and then missed my opportunity for that particular dialogue option. But anyways, I tried to show as many things as possible. Just so you know, by the way, for all these quests, there are different quests in Breath of the Wild in different categories. So there's main quests, shrine quests, and side quests, and they're all different things. And just so you know, a lot of people list them in those categories online. So if you were trying to look up a particular quest, but you're looking in the wrong section, like you assume that it's a side quest, but it's actually a shrine quest, then you won't find it in that particular list. Just something to be aware of, in particular in regards to the links that I have in the description. So if you're trying to find more information about a particular quest, just know it might be in one of the other sections. So next, we just have to wait patiently for it to be nighttime. But you know what? This is an adventure game. I don't have time to wait around for nighttime to come. No way! We're gonna set his house on fire and then use that to manually change the time of day. By the way, if you don't like the rain, you can totally just use the campfire repeatedly to change the forecast to something that is more agreeable for you. Honestly, at this point, I'm not actually gonna be climbing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The only other disadvantage to rain is, other than climbing, is that it will put out fires. So if I was wanting to use these giant grass fields to murder that single chew, then I could do so, and the rain would be unfortunate in that particular case. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Chew is easy enough. So, other than that, the rain doesn't matter. So I'm just going to continue on to the shrine regardless of rain. So all we have to do for this quest is just simply head to this canyon to the north at night, and there's a bunch of little statues all over the place, and at night, one of them has glowing eyes. Night is considered anywhere after 9 p.m., and by the way, when you use a campfire to go to night, it automatically brings you to exactly 9 p.m., so you should just use the campfire straight up. Now, this area does have a bunch of hardy radishes, which you should collect because those are kind of rare, and if you come here at night, then Calip will be found here instead of his house. The one exception to that is if it's raining, like it is right now. So he is not outside right now because he claims that it is bad for his glasses, and that would kill him. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyways, so he is not here right now at night, and that is why. So that's one of the weird stipulations about this quest. Again, talking with Calip, though, is totally optional. If you already know the solution to this puzzle, you don't have to speak with him at all. So welcome to the Kam Urog Shrine, and the first thing you want to do is you actually want to run forward and use magnesis on the spiky balls and throw them into the abyss. Take them out of the cylinder entirely and get rid of them, because it doesn't matter. They don't reappear or anything, it's just make them go away. Now, in this recording, I did only get rid of the two little ones. I think the deal was that the bigger one started getting on top of the platform, and I couldn't reach it for a little bit, and then I was like, bah, whatever, and I just ignored it after that. But yeah, you should totally get rid of all of the spiky balls first, would be my big recommendation. Alright, I'm going to change my order of events slightly from when I recorded this, because now that I'm watching this after the fact, I can see a more efficient path. So, what you want to do is get on top of one of these two long platforms, then from here, jump to the gear in the center, and then jump to the alcove on the far right, where there is a chest. So do that, and this leads to an opal. Once you have collected that, then turn around and face back towards the middle, and there is one of the rotating platforms also has a little chest on it. Now, the easiest way to get this is actually to use stasis on the gears to stop the rotation, which allows you to get to the chest a little bit easier. So go ahead and do so. Once you've collected that, hop on down, wait for the long platform once again, and then use stasis on the middle gear, or the left one, either one, to stop the rotation once more. This allows you to get across on the other long platform to reach the platform on the far left. Then you can just wait for stasis to wear out, and then you can stand on top of the nearby gear, just don't get squished, but use it to hop on top of the platform that is continuing on counterclockwise. This will allow you to reach a small set of stairs. And in order to get to the highest platform, what you need to do is wait for the stairs platform to rotate all the way around, and then use stasis on either one of the gears to stop it in place, so you can use this set of stairs to reach the very top. So by the way, this shrine, as well as many others, have multiple ways to complete them. This particular one, actually, you don't have to use magnesis or stasis for that matter to complete it. All you have to do for the middle portion, that's kind of the hardest part, is really just sit on the gear for a little while. If you're worried about the long platform bonking into you, all you have to do is duck down so it can pass over you. But anyways, you wait on the middle platform, and then wait for the long platforms to pass over you, and once it comes back around the other side, then you can finally make a run for the far platform on the left. But yeah, you can totally do this without using stasis at all. And likewise, the stairs, you just like hop onto them while they're still a little bit to the right as they're starting to pass over to the left, and then like you run across them as they're going straight, and as they start going off to the left a little bit, you can jump to the highest platform. So you can totally do it without using stasis. Not a big deal, actually. So there's a lot of you out there who might have completed it that way and didn't even think to use stasis just because you're still not used to it and don't like think to do it all the time yet. The more puzzles you do like this, it'll start becoming more second nature, and you'll start doing it automatically. But it's something that I always find interesting about this game is how there's multiple ways to complete a lot of the puzzles. One idea I have for this game that I don't have time for, but somebody else wants to do something like this, it'd be cool. I don't know if it's a website or just YouTube videos or what would be the best way to go about this, but I like the idea of somebody making a challenge guide for the shrines. And the idea is that how it works is the guide itself just says, okay, this shrine, like the goal is to melt some ice, for example. So it says, okay, here's the challenge. You can't use fire weapons, fire arrows, wood, or flint. You can't use any of those four things, and you have to figure out how to melt the ice. That's all the guide says. The solution is, which it doesn't say anything about this, is to use fire chew jelly, because you can throw those on the ground and then you can smack them. It's just a super untraditional way of melting ice, but it is a possibility. It's just a lot of people wouldn't even think about that. So it's like a riddle, and you have to figure it out. And so a lot of shrines, you could find some really untraditional way to do it. Or like, you have to complete this shrine, but you can't jump. and like that's the challenge, and you're like, how do I even do this? There's so much vertical stuff going on. How do you possibly go through this without jumping? But there is solutions. So I find the idea of something like that interesting. The guide itself doesn't tell you what the solution is, but meanwhile it has comments, and you can like click like show or reveal more or whatever, and then you can see those comments, and that would be when people are talking about spoilers or whatever. And so you just try to do the challenges yourself, and you check them off your list, and then if you can't figure it out, then you look at the comments and discuss it afterwards, or to reveal it for yourself, and you're like, that's so interesting. So I think something like that would be super cool as like another potential way to have replayability for this game. I don't really have the time to think about something like that. It's not really super suitable for a YouTube video kind of thing. The comments in that would be just awful trying to sort through. I really like the idea of having the comments like segregated by each individual shrine would be really sweet. But anyways, I'm not sure what the best format would be for that, or forums or something else. I don't know. But yeah, just kind of a cool idea. That'd be a sweet resource, and then all the... I really like the idea of the interaction of the community, like commenting back and forth would be sweet. So next we're continuing on to the east. There is a north road that leads on towards Hateno Village, which is our destination, but if you take the south road instead, which goes across this little stone bridge thing, then there is a little hill here that leads to Hateno Tower. Now at this point, this particular tower is covered in vines, and the best way to take care of them is to simply burn them, and you can do this using a fire arrow. So hopefully it's not raining. So this will steadily work its way up the tower. Just know that there are two sets of vines. They both rotate around the tower clockwise, so if you burn one set, that it will remove half the vines, but if you want to get rid of all of them, you're going to have to burn the other set as well. So just be aware of that. Now, naturally, you'd think the alternative to that method would be to use a fire weapon. Unfortunately, regular melee fire weapons do not set vines on fire. I don't know why. So instead, what you can do to get around this is you can use something else, such as flint. Unfortunately, flint will break when it comes too close to vines, which is bad. So instead, what you want to do is you want to set something else on fire, such as a pile of wood. Wood is your best friend in Breath of the Wild. You can use it. It's so useful, honestly. There's so many times when it comes in handy. So throw some wood right next to the vines, then throw some flint next to that, if you don't have a fire weapon anyways. Then you can smack the flint with a metal weapon to create a spark, which will start a flame on the wood, which will then catch fire to the vines. Oh my goodness, so many steps. So if you don't have a fire weapon and you don't have a fire arrow, then this is a way you can do that. Honestly, if you're running around collecting random chests, you should easily have a fire arrow. Now, just so you know, too, when you set a bunch of things on fire, you do create an updraft. More than just a single pile of wood, anyways. When you have a bunch of things on fire next to each other, it creates an updraft. You can quickly use it, if you think fast, to gain some height as well, which is cool. The thing to worry about with that is that you just want to be really careful that you don't get too close to one of these vines, because if you barely touch them at all, then it will kill you, and that's bad. But yeah, I'd say overall I think the updraft is just too dangerous to use. Honestly, it's not practical, but I'm just pointing it out because it's cool. So if you find that intimidating for whatever reason, or you just don't believe in fire weapons, I mean, come on, honestly, if like fire is your primary weapon in Breath of the Wild, use it for everything. I recommend that you wear the climber's bandana instead, and to increase your climbing speed by 16%. By the way, when you are climbing, do not jump with X because it will consume more stamina. Just climbing defaultly, just regularly, will consume the least amount of stamina possible, and for a lot of these bigger climbing things, especially early on in the game, you need to conserve as much stamina as possible to make sure you can reach it. This first distance takes about like a wheel and a half without any speed buffs or anything, so you probably have to use a single stamina dish if you did not get stamina vessels with me. By the way, a great tip for climbing early on in the game is the fact that you can simply make some really low-level elixirs. For example, say a single hightail lizard plus like 2 monster parts or something like that, like bokoblin horns, whatever. It'll give you like a 2-minute buff or something like that that will increase your speed level by 1. Now, just so you know, the climbing bandana, what it does is it gives you level 1 climbing speed. So the speed buff increases the speed of climbing, fishing, or climbing, swimming, and running, but the bandana only increases climbing speed. But anyways, those stack. So if you have rank 1 climbing speed from the climbing bandana, and you have another rank 1 speed from a speed elixir, that will give you rank 2 climbing, which will increase your speed to, I believe it's 21% or something like that. So anyways, it's pretty nice. And like I say, just 2 monster parts, it doesn't give you very long of a duration, but you don't need that long. You just need like a minute or something like that to get up this tower. So something like that would give you enough speed bonus that you can get up here without having to waste your precious stamina shrooms dishes, you know. So there's little tricks like that you can do that just makes it's a nice little quality of life thing. So if you have several hightail lizards, that's something you can do very easily. So each time I unlock a tower, I've been placing pins on my map. However, instead of me showing that part of the recording, instead I'm going to show a recording of my game file later in the game when I've already like finalized most of my pins, because I moved a lot of stuff around, I added some more things, etc. So I'm going to slow it down right here to show the Hateno region being unlocked, so you can kind of get a feel for what that area encompasses. But now I'm going to actually switch to a different recording of me talking during my current game file so I can show you which pins I recommend. Alright, so here is my game file much later after I've unlocked most of the things in the game and finalized most of my pins. So Hateno, you unlock this tower right here, which unveils the area from like Fort Hateno that we passed through. So it unveiled all of this, kind of going along the road here, and then it goes along this cliffside, goes through the water, goes up around the mountains here, goes along the water here, meow, and then it cuts across the ground to the river, and then it goes meow all the way around here, and then it kind of cuts across the mountain here. So this is all part of Dueling Peaks, and this area is all part of Hateno. Now, one other comment as far as the way it's chopped up, I disagree with this placement slightly that they have in the game, because this whole area feels like more of Hateno to me, both as far as the, just the environment, the weather patterns and stuff like that, as well as the fact that it's easier to reach from Hateno, honestly. Like, even though it's technically part of the Lanayru region, you can get to it from here. You just be like, man, follow this road, go through all the enemies here, and then it just zigzags a lot, and then you finally pop down here. It's a really high elevation. You're kind of like working your way up the mountain here, and then finally you can sail down to it. That's fine. However, like literally, you just warp to the shrine and go, down the hill, and it's super easy to get here from this side. So anyways, what I like to do is I take my horse here and go bam, 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 and you can get all three of these shrines right away. I don't currently have this one unlocked in this recording, but yes, you get the idea. Also, another comment about that, so it's hard to get from Zora's Domain to Hateno, but it's easy to get from Hateno to Zora's Domain. And what I mean by that is over here in Horon Lagoon, you can go right here. Well, okay, so this area has a whole bunch of wind geyser things all over the place. And there's a giant one, right? I think it's right here. And what you can do is this one actually propels you all the way up the mountainside up to like right there or something like that. Something crazy, really high. And then all you need to do is just use like a little bit of stamina food to get that last little distance, even in the rain. And then once you're over this little ledge, you're home free. And you can just go, meow, go. It's super easy sailing to get all the way over to Zora's Domain. So you can skip all this Ralos escort stuff and all of the electric enemies and stuff. This whole area is scary, especially early game when you don't have a lot of health or you don't have any lightning resist. It's just terrifying. So you can just skip all of that and go straight to Zora's Domain. So that's a really cool thing. So you can, yeah, anyway, so you get here from Hateno, even though it's technically part of Lanayru. So anyways, that's just a comment about the Hateno region itself. So now going back to talking about actual pins. So what are the things that I recommend pinning here in Hateno? Right when you get to Hateno Village, you unlock the Myahm Agana shrine, and this is the place you're going to be teleporting to get all this stuff. Now, just southwest of that, there is this little house here that you can purchase, and it starts out all dilapidated and stuff, and then later you fix it up for a side quest. Now, right leaning up against it, both while it's dilapidated as well as afterwards, are two iron sledgehammers that reappear all the time. I'm going to remove one of these pins just because I'm trying to salvage as many pins as possible. But anyways, this is the best place in the game to get iron sledgehammer. Super easy. You warp here, you go either across the bridge or go across this little hill thing and then sail the rest of the way. Bam, you got two iron sledgehammers. Awesome. Now, if you like iron sledgehammers for either killing Stone Talus early game, honestly, there's much better weapons for that in general. Just anything with higher damage is better overall. A sledgehammer is kind of low damage. It's high durability, though, is the thing. Or it's a really high durability for an early weapon anyways. But there are better weapons for that. Like, I would recommend using like a Royal Claymore or something like that for Stone Talus in general. But that all being said, for early game, that's awesome. Otherwise, the only other reason that you want to get this, I guess, would be for like like stasis launching, for example. If you want to use glitches to launch trees or other objects really far across the map to fast travel around Hyrule, then that's an option. That's a glitch that people use for speedrunning and stuff like that. I'm not going to talk about it in this walkthrough. I just wanted to bring it up real quick because this is a great place to get the weapons you need to do that. It's not required to use sledgehammers, but it's just one of the things that people like to use. So anyways, just as a comment, this is the best place in the game to get iron sledgehammers, and a lot of people don't realize that spot is there. You can get all the utility items at stables. There's usually 2 of the 3 at each one of these. They have different ones, but you can get all 3 utility items in Kakariko: iron sledgehammer, a torch, and a woodcutter's axe. So if you... yeah, anyways, unless you need iron sledgehammers, I think it's just easier to go to Kakariko. And again, the distance from here is actually not that far. You warp here and just be like, bam, there you go, iron sledgehammer. Easy. I like recommending Kakariko because it's something that everybody has access to. You know, like, different people may or may not have access to a stable way up in the corner until later in the game, but everybody has access to Kakariko pretty early on in their adventure, so it's just a nice place to recommend because of that. And it has a wide variety. It has, like, everything, which is great. Okay, other things to recommend in Hateno. So, Just north of the ancient tech lab is Retsum Forest. This is the best place in the game to get sun shrooms. You need 10 sun shrooms to upgrade the snow quill outfit. Otherwise, it is a pretty decent item to give you chill resistance. Very easy, especially considering we want to get the climbing gear as soon as possible, which is right here. So, or the climbing pants, whatever they're called. So that's all awesome. But yeah, as a comment though, this is the most dense place to get sun shrooms. I don't really feel like this forest is great. The other ingredients that are there are kind of garbage, honestly. So the other better place I think in general to get heat ingredients is actually Gut Check Rock up here. There is a whole bunch of fireproof lizards, sizzlefin trout, and sun shrooms all throughout here. The sun shrooms are kind of all next to little trees all throughout here. So especially all throughout here, actually. There's a bunch of sun shrooms. There isn't as many as Retsum Forest. However, this is a wider variety of better ingredients is what I'm trying to say. So just as a comment, this is the best place in the game to get sun shrooms. But other than that, so yes, you use this to upgrade the snow quill set. Another place worth pinning doesn't actually have a name. It's just a unnamed little dinky pond in the middle of nowhere. But it's just south of Great Plateau. This place has 3 to 6 hardy bass, which is, in my opinion, the best place to go in the entire game. You just warp to Hateno Tower, go sail south, and then go like through these ruins. There's some bokoblins and a single moblin here. Just run past them, and then grab all these guys, and then come back here every blood moon. You can get all the ingredients you need, because the Zora armor requires 15 hardy bass in order to upgrade. There's actually lots of other places that have hardy bass as well. Most locations, like for example, just north of Toto Lake right here, there's a single one. There's one right here in Uluria Grotto, whatever. And there's also, I think 1 or 2 over here. There's one in Hebra Plunge, and there's one like up here. And there's one like up there, for example, a single hardy bass. But yeah, they're just kind of scattered all over Hyrule. Actually, the highest concentration of them in general is just all along here. Kalora Lake has a bunch of them, for example. There's a couple areas in Farron. I'm actually not sure off the top of my head right now. But there's several different places over here. Let's see, Floria Bridge. Yeah, just all around here. Like, literally right around the bridge is a good place. Anyways. But those are kind of awkward to get to for some of those things, so I feel like the easiest place by far is actually just right here. You can do it early game. You need 15 for the Zora outfit, so you just come back here every blood moon and warp here and grab them real quick. You can take care of that ingredient. It's just kind of like the problem is that ingredient is sort of awkward to get in general throughout the game, and so it's one of the harder ingredients for the Zora set, so that's the easiest place to get them by far. Again, 3 to 6, awesome. Let's see here. As far as hardy ingredients too, by the way, I'd recommend just in general, hardy durians are a much better thing, which you can get around Farron Tower or over here. Satori Mountain. It's actually not marked right here. Bloop. That one. That's the best place to get hardy durians in the game. Anyways, let's see here. Other things worth marking. So this is the location of the horn statue, which is just to the left of the shrine in Hateno. This is a thing that allows you to spend rupees to swap your heart containers and your stamina vessels back and forth, which is a very handy thing, especially for getting the Master Sword early. You can turn in all of your stamina vessels, turn them all into heart containers to get 13 hearts as soon as possible, so that you can get the Master Sword, and then you can swap them right back. Do be warned, that does cost a hefty amount of rupees. I think it's 120 a piece, I think, because it's 20 to remove it and then 100 to buy it back. So yeah, it's not very cheap to do so. So you might need like a couple thousand rupees just to even do that, but it is an option. If you have lots of money, then it's not a deal at all, or it's not a problem. So otherwise, too, the last thing worth mentioning here in Hateno is the places to farm Nadra horns. So Nadra spawns up at the Spring of Wisdom. You can warp here, then go over to this bridge, or sorry, a gate, and you can place a campfire here to change the time of day. Make it noon and then morning to spawn Nadra, and then you can just get up on top of this hill and shoot her to get horns. The slightly better place, by the way, so the nice thing about this is it's very safe and you can change the time of day easily and don't have to worry about rain. If you want to risk the rain and don't care too much, the best place in the game to get nature horns, in my opinion, is actually over here next to Lineru Heights. And that is just this little ledge right here. It's hard to explain, but right there you can place a campfire and look to the northeast, I think, when you sleep. But make it noon, make it morning, and then what happens is it makes the dragon spawn right here, actually, and she's going left. So what you do is you just immediately shield surf right down here, and then shoot at her, and then immediately run back and use the campfire again. Just keep doing that until it rains, and then finally you can go and collect all the goodies and then go over here to change the time of day. Sometimes after that, she won't spawn at all until the next blood moon, but generally speaking, that works pretty good. So assuming you have pretty good RNG with the rain and it doesn't screw you up, then that is the fastest way to get dragon parts from Naydra. Alright, there's one more thing to discuss here, and that is chill shrooms. Hateno has the best place in the entire game to get chill shrooms, and that's actually a super valuable thing, although I almost feel like it's more of an honorable mention. I don't know that I would sacrifice a pin for it, but it is a cool thing. And so I'll talk about it a little bit just to explain what I mean by that. So just a quick comment is chill shrooms are used to give you heat resistance. I honestly feel like heat resistance is the most worthless buff in Breath of the Wild, and it's terrible. The reason is because the only place you use heat resistance at all in the entire game is just Gerudo Desert. However, that's only during the day. So like for most of this stuff, honestly, you can just wear like the Warm Doublet and then just wear a fire weapon or both. And it gives you level 2 chill resistance, and you just use fire. So you just throw down wood and make a campfire whenever you want. It never rains here, you never have to worry about it. You just smack it with that same fire weapon you're wearing, and then you can make it night again. And then you just have... You're perfect. It doesn't matter how deep you go. During the day, then this whole lower corner gets pretty hot. It gets rank 2 heat resistance is what you need. However, again, it doesn't matter. If you just make it night, it doesn't matter. And then it's rank 2 cold. And so because it alternates, flips back and forth. So if you have enough cold resistance by wearing the Snow Quill set or by wearing the Warm Doublet and something, then it's fine. And you don't need to worry about heat at all. That only becomes an issue after you start going to Von Boris. So you can just have some chill resistance at that point, or get like the Vo outfit, or just deal with it with the Gerudo outfit basically and wear a cold weapon or something. But anyways, there's heat resistance is the easiest like environmental effect to deal with in the entire game, and it's honestly like not even much of an issue. It's the only place it matters, and cold resistance can get you through most of this just fine. Doesn't matter. So anyways, that's my comments about that. So if you want to get food buffs for heat resistance as opposed to spending all the time upgrading armor, then maybe that's a good option for you. So that all being said, chill shrooms are the best option for that by far. Also, by the way, most of the buffs in the game have 3 ranks. So there's 3 speed, 3 stealth, 3 attack and defense. You know, there's 3 ranks of everything except for heat and cold. There's only 2 ranks of that. A lot of new players don't realize that there's only 2 ranks of heat and cold. Level 1, level 2 is all you need for various areas. There's actually a lot more areas that require level 2 cold. There's a couple spots over here. There's a couple spots in Hebra, and there's also a couple spots on Lanayru Mountain over here. Mount Lanayru, I should say. So, that all being said, if you can go to those areas, you can get chill shrooms. So, it's actually super sweet the way this is laid out. So you go to Retsun Forest, you get sun shrooms, you fry those up to get chill resistance. Then with that chill resistance buff, you just go up the mountain, go over to the Shrine of Wisdom, and then, or the Spring of Wisdom, and then from there you can just sail over here, and you can go to Naydra Snowfield, which requires a bunch of chill resistance, which you got by eating sun shrooms, and then you can go here and get a bunch of chill shrooms, which is what you use to go elsewhere. One of the nice things about this is actually there's an okay amount of sun shrooms here. There's a crazy amount of chill shrooms here. It's something nuts. Like I want to say like 78 or something stupid like that. It's insane. This is the best place in the game to get chill shrooms by far. Now it is a little bit scary. There's some enemies. If you want someplace safer to get chill shrooms, then the South Tabantha Snowfield is the second best place in the game. It's easier, but there's less enemies. So there's like little clusters of them in these patches of trees. So just go to each one of these patches of trees and you'll get a bunch of chill shrooms really easy without much of a threat. So if you're looking for something, an easier way to do that, then do that. Chill shrooms are by far, for the heat resistance category, it is by far the best ingredient to get. It's the most plentiful, it's the easiest to farm, like not even a challenge or whatever. There's no other ingredient that even comes close to competing. Chill shrooms are the easiest, best thing to get. So anyways, but this has far more chill shrooms. The reason this is scary is primarily because there are Icy Lizalfos here. However, you just smack them with a fire weapon and they die instantly. And you need Icy Lizalfos tails to upgrade the Vo set. So if you are going to go for the armor, or if you want to go here to get chill shrooms to not use that set, either way, this is still the best place to farm for both of those things. And again, the best way to do that is just go here, get some sun shrooms, fry it up, and use that buff to hunt in here. So walk up to all those Icy Lizalfos, smack them once with a fire weapon. Again, if you need more fire weapons, the best place is to get those. You can get a Flame Blade by killing this Stalnox at night. You can get a Flame Spear by killing this Stalnox at night. You can get a Great Flame Blade by killing this Stalnox at night over here. I don't even have this one marked because I think this one's garbage, because you can get a free Flame Blade just to the left of the Central Tower. So, so many things. So anyways, bring some fire weapons, kill all the enemies here instantaneously. You'll make a bunch of, get a whole bunch of monster parts, get a whole bunch of icy Lizalfos tails, get a ton of chill shrooms, which honestly, I think just one farming pass, you just go through here, get everything, get all the Koroks you can, kill all the enemies, and collect all the chill shrooms and all of the, what are they called? Cool Saflinas? Whatever. Cold Saflinas, and you will get all of the chill shrooms you need for all of the heat resistance for the entire game in one pass. Super easy. Super, super easy. So anyways, again, I feel like this is more of an honorable mention because honestly, like, you'll probably get enough cold ingredients that you can deal with heat without ever farming here, just in general, because if you're just avoiding heat entirely by changing the time of day, you don't even need heat resistance for most of the game. Basically, you just need enough heat resistance to deal with the dungeon. And that's it. So say you need whatever, 30 minutes or an hour's worth of heat resistance total for the entirety of Breath of the Wild. It's just kind of ridiculous compared to all the other debuffs you have to deal with in this game. But anyways, that's the end of my rant. So yes, I feel like that is the other honorable mention here in Hateno. Alright, so with pins on our map, it's now time to continue working towards Hateno to the east, and it's really easy to just follow your mini-map. Just follow any of the roads to the east, and you'll eventually meet up with Hateno Village. Just take your horse along the way if you have one, otherwise you can run directly. Now, as a comment, there is some goodies you can get along the way. In particular, the Koroks, I think, is the most worthwhile. It is worth mentioning, though, that there are many chests, actually, in this area that have 50 rupees, so purple rupees are kind of nice. However, they are kind of low tier. I'm more so going to stop for, like, silver rupees, which is worth 100, and gold rupees that are worth 300. Those are kind of the ones that I'm considering a highlight. The 50 rupee chests, honestly, I kind of consider a waste of time because we can make money much faster in other ways. So I'm more prioritizing unlocking the ability to make a bunch of money as opposed to getting all the little tinier amounts of money along the way. But if you want to go ahead and explore around here, Hateno is a great place to do so because the enemies here are pretty easy. So in particular, there's a lot of 50 rupee chests around Lake Jara and a little bit further to the north in Nervada Lake. So if you want to do that, then more power to you, go for it. I recommend you use the Zelda Dungeon interactive map, which I have a link to that in the description, so you can get all the goodies around here. I personally think it's kind of a waste of time, so I'm going to be skipping all that and just going straight to Hateno. So whatever you want to do, you can just go straight there with me, or get some goodies along the way. But again, if you are wanting a bunch of money right away so that you can purchase the soldier set at the armor shop, then those purple rupees would come in handy for that. Now, I personally think that the soldier set is absolutely awful, and I would highly recommend you don't buy it, and I'll explain more what I mean by that here in a little while. Our first priority here, though, is to go to the Myahm Agana shrine, which is here in the center of Hateno Village, so that we can get a teleport point here to Hateno, and that would be super handy. This shrine is actually very easy, so I'd recommend you do it right now for a quick spirit orb, which is nice. A lot of these ball puzzles that have, they always have the dispenser, so if the ball disappears, then the dispenser will redispense it. So one of the things that you can do with any of these puzzles pretty much in the entire game, actually, is you can purposefully throw the ball into, especially for apparatus puzzles like this, purposefully throw the ball into the abyss, because then you can make it the ball dispense again, which is actually super to our advantage. By rotating it, you can get the ball to land exactly at the end point of the maze, so you don't have to worry about it at all. Now just tilt it down to get it to start rolling and pick up momentum, and then just flip it up at the last moment to fling it up into the air, so it can land in the channel so it goes exactly where we want it to. Now our next goal is to get the platform rotated around so we can access that chest. To do so, we want this like extended lip face towards us and kind of low. I know the rotation on this can be a little bit awkward with your controller, but the goal is to get it so that it's tilting down towards us, and then the other platform, which doesn't stick out, that one is tilted up, so we have a higher elevation so we can reach the left platform. In this way, we can get to the central device, the apparatus, without having to jump down into the abyss to leave. So this puzzle can, of course, be done the hard way, just very slowly tilting the platform around to move the ball around, but of course, the dispenser method is just way nicer once you realize that trick. But anyways, you can do that for most of these apparatus puzzles, actually. The chest here contains a Phrenic Bow. I highly recommend you hang on to this. Sniper bows are amazing. So a Phrenic Bow, it has a zoom mechanic, but it also shoots for 40 yards rather than 20 like most of the bows in the game. I highly recommend you keep at least one Sniper Bow in your inventory at all times because it's useful for Koroks, for shrine puzzles, and for farming dragon parts. Alright, that'll conclude this particular video. As always, huge thanks goes out to all of my Patreon supporters for helping to make this possible. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to throw a like on it, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content just like this. Remember to stay awesome, you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.